Welcome back to Forced Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking about the ticker MULN, also known as Mullen. Now, this company here is an EV SPAC that were launched back earlier on in last year. I believe it was November, and you get to see kind of this push a little bit upwards. Now, this is kind of done in a deal where it's similar to a SPAC, and this stock jumped to a high of around $18 and currently trading around 0.63. So we're going to uncover what this company has done to lead to this lower price, and as well their products itself in comparison. Right off the bat, you got their 5 vehicle, the pure electric SUV crossover. It's called 5, and it has a range estimate of around 325 miles. This really reminds me of the Model Y. The Model Y has a range of around 303 miles, or basically that's the basic. And electronically limited for around 155 mph max. You're able to see right here it is as well, around the same thing. And 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 3.2 seconds. And you're able to see here it's reaching around 3.5 seconds with rollout subtracted. Now, the company itself has announced some news. For instance, they had issued a letter to stockholders relating towards the second quarter of 2022 first anticipated delivery, and as well to the company's unaware of business reasons for the current decline of Mullen stock price. So here is some of the highlights here. So Mullen is on track to deliver the first EV cargo van fleet vehicles in quarter 2. High performance version of Mullen 5 are due to arrive in the late summer of 2022. National test drive event for Mullen front row reservations holders to be announced on a future date. Mullen has successfully filed over 120 patents in 24 countries for Mullen 5 crossover. In Mullen purchase of Tunica's AMEC manufacturing facility. Company owns this facility free and clear with no associated debt or financial obligations on the property. World debuted on the Mullen 5 on November 17, 2021 Los Angeles International Show, and Mullen 5 won the Best SUV ZEVAS, the Zero Emissions Vehicles, award at the 2021 Los Angeles International Auto Show, besting both Lincoln and Riven for the top honor. Recently earned media coverage on Mullen for over 40 publications, including Automotive News, Ward Auto, Bloomberg, Barron's, Inside EVs, Rob Report, Hot Cars, and Car Buzz. Now, successfully completion of extensive consumer EV market study revealing Mullen 5 scored high against Tesla Y and Ford Mach-E. Now, further details on the highlighted accomplishments can be found. Mullen has recently also announced a string of key partnership with Hoffer Powertrain and other companies, as you get to see here, for manufacturing vehicle production systems and over-the-air and over-the-system or vehicle system diagnostics, respectively. The company expects these strategic developments to play a crucial role in developing the 5 to markets with the latest technologies and least amount of time. Mullen 5 was also named as a top zero emission, as they mentioned earlier, and the 5 is built on an EV crossover skateboard platform that offers multiple terrain configuration and trim levels. And you get to see that before. Now, in terms of taking a look quickly into news and what they're actually saying, some of them are actually mentioning about a record losing streak. Yes, it has been in a massive downtrend. It bounced a little bit back in February and then slumped right back. And you're able to see that there wasn't much of a target on this one as much. It could be a short selling report going around there, or just basically retail confidence. Back on the 14th of February, they mentioned a successful consumer EV market study reveals Mullen's 5 scores highs against Tesla Model Y and Ford Mach-E. And you get to see here, they've done it in purchase consideration. So you get to see that for Mullen, it still scored really well, degree of appeal. You're able to see as well that the company had higher levels and needs of fulfillment. So you're able to see that the Mullen 5 scored relatively well. Now, it's still very much competing with Tesla Y, but less so than with Ford Mach-E. So David Mitry shares vision for Mullen Automotive on the industry-leading podcast. So this was basically just kind of a publicity or kind of thing to PR move to try to get the stock price high. And they also have mentioned before the Mullen Automotive strengthening balance sheets by receiving more than $40 million in the past 2 months. And this is in relations towards initial drawdown of $2.5 million under a $30 million equity line from Yosa Holdings debt financing and from existing shareholders, bringing the total funding received to be around $40 million. So this is in addition to trying to get as much funding to go on and buy other manufacturing units and manufacture the 5 as soon as possible. And Mullen Automotive Vehicles Program update, they mentioned an update before. They're on track to deliver the 5 RS on Q3 2022. Mullen is planning for media and consumer events in the late summer, and the Mullen EV Cargo Program that is anticipated onto the Q2 2022 to be basically delivered. Can they give you some information about the Class 1 EV cargo van, which is 120-inch wheelbase, 40 kilowatt hour, 210 cubic feet cargo area, and the vehicle estimate has around 160 miles range with a max payload of around 2,249 pounds. And the Class 2 EV has 144-inch wheelbase, 79 kilowatt per hour, 460 cubic feet cargo area, and over 200 miles with a max payload of around 3,296 pounds. Now, we don't have much of fundamentals here as they are currently a newer SPAC. And from a retail side, we're able basically to see that retail overall is looking at it and saying, hey, how's the stock going from around 15, 17 and basically trading around 60 cents? Some other retails basically are mentioning, hey, the stock is really looking good. Some others are saying, hey, someone is basically converting shares and dumping. Some are just basically mentioning that this is bound to kind of see a bit of a reflection with this massive drop. Reverse charts kind of look good. That is a bit funny, but basically it's kind of a confusion a little bit in retail rather than pinpointing to one kind of conclusion. So you're not exactly sure who is that person or group that is selling, but you get to see selling volumes are actually in relative volume 17 times higher. Volumes have spiked more into the negative side. But before moving on towards technical analysis and discussing a little bit more, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and leave notification buttons on for the channel, and don't forget to drop a like. Let's move on now towards technical analysis. Now, from a technical analysis perspective for Mullen Automotive Incorporation, what we get to see, of course, there's a few indicators here that are all showing a massive downtrend. You got your 50 SMA above the 30 SMA, above the 10 SMA. The William percent R is at negative 99.04, which basically shows you the same information as the RSI, or relative strength index, and it shows that it's very, 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 very much oversold, suggesting basically that there is a lot more supply than there is demand. And we get to see that. Momentum is negative 2.42. A bit of a bounce from the day before, but nonetheless, it really shows that the average directional index shows that this is a very strong trend. Probably going to last until sometime midweek before reversing, based on it not hitting 50 yet, but it is very likely to have a reversal sometime soon. The MACD has been very close to zero, not showing much strength in either direction, but basically on the stochastic fast and stochastic slow, what you're getting to see, it's flat on the bottom, suggesting that this might be a good time to buy, but there's not much historical price point for this company to determine that. Now, on the moving average bands, it's all going downwards. Volumes have been increasing in the wrong direction, but it's going downwards. You get to see the unbalanced volume of basically money being traded has gone to way negative, showing that there's a lot of dispositions for the stock, and it's not really looking good. Now, in terms of Fibonacci retracements, the resistance is at 422, 645, 826, 1006, and 1263. The support is currently at the 61 cents. Now, we can go ahead and do price line action supports and resistances, but it's very hard. For instance, you can have a resistance at 90, and basically each single candle, because it didn't really see any strong bounces. But in terms of the next confirmed resistance, it's at 285. 361, then jumps up to 505, and then higher 587 and 722. Now, what do I think about this one? I'm thinking, well, currently it's going very much on the negative side. At some point, it's going to bounce back a little, and hopefully it stays there. But you might have a situation where it kind of just continues on bouncing and then drops significantly. Now, this is kind of a company that isn't really proved its success yet, and there's a lot of hesitancy with a very volatile market, and that's what's really fueling this. People aren't sure whether a company like this one will survive based on not even being in production yet, and kind of trying to ride this SPAC wave that has basically been brutally beaten up if you haven't been proven successful or haven't been profitable before. Now, what do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day.